So after starting nursing school, something like changing diapers and doing all this nursing care stuff became so normal for most of us, and we didn't feel like it was a burden doing some of these things for our patients. And so let me start with a story. So there's this one time I was just seated in the nurse's desk, and then there was a lady who came in. I think she came to visit her brother, and so when she got to his bed, like, he had kind of spoiled the diaper. And at times I usually find it weird that most of the relatives, they come to visit like the sick person, and at times they find it so difficult to even do something as small as even change the diaper or clean the basin. And I'm usually like, what is it that much for you to do? So most of them, they usually think that is the nurse's work, and so they'll just come and tell you, come and change the diaper, come and do this, come and clean that basin. But at times we usually feel like we're used to it and we don't even complain. So she came to me and she was like, my brother just spoiled the diaper, come and change the diaper. And so I went there and I did it, and other relatives were there, and then at that time all of them, they're just looking at you and wondering, what is she doing? And they look disgusted, and you're like, that is part of the job. So after I was done with that, when I came to bring back the basin, that lady approached me and she asked me, why do you do this? Like, what is it that you guys usually do this thing without like too much or feeling like disgusted and such kind of things? And I was like, I even don't know. Like, I just found myself here, and I find it so fulfilling that I can do something to help someone feel better, and for me that is fulfilling. So if you ask me what I'm doing here, I really can't give you that answer. And I think that was the first time that I asked myself, why am I doing nursing? Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Lesodor, and on this channel I talk about nursing and also do lifestyle vlogs. And recently I've introduced the money mindset series, so if you haven't started watching it, then you're missing a lot. And before I start, or before I continue with what you are talking about today, I just like to clarify something. Recently, like, I noticed that people wanted to help me out, because at times as a creator, it gets so difficult for you to improve and grow like your channel if you don't have things like equipment that can boost you with lighting, boost your video quality, your audio quality. And at times you find that, let me give you an example. Like, for me, I usually depend on natural light. Like, I depend on the sunlight through my window for me to be able to record a video. And at times maybe it's cloudy or it has rained. So that means whenever the weather has changed, you cannot be able to bring out content, and it gets so difficult. And that is why I started introducing the membership stuff. But I realized the one for membership that I introduced, like, I think 2 days ago, it wasn't going to work, because you had to put your card details, and then they were supposed to cut a certain amount each and every month. And you know, like, for most people in Kenya especially, they don't have the card itself, or they're scared of having the card there. Like, you cannot just display your card number like each and like somewhere openly like that. So it became difficult for most guys, and then that means, so most of you guys told me that I can start something else, like using a pay bill number, because that is what most other YouTubers, especially in Kenya, are using. So from now onwards, you'll be seeing each and every time on my videos, I'll be having the pay bill number or the phone number, that is the business number, for any person who wants to support my channel with whichever little or whichever much you have, or from whichever place you are. You can just support me, and I'll really appreciate that. And so let's continue. So I was talking about, why is it that most of us usually join nursing? And for me, when I asked myself, why is it that I'm doing nursing, I could not find the answer. Like, I could not find a really reasonable answer, because for me, I was just like, I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it because I feel like doing it. So apart from that, there's another story again. There's this time I was just like during my clinicals, and then you usually find that we have these young nurses who have just completed college or they've just completed university, and so they've joined the field for like the first time. They're there, like, if you ask them, they're there for the first like 2 months or something, so they're still new. And most of the time you find that these other nurses who have been there for a longer period, they usually like, I know you know about the thing that you say, eating their young. They usually take advantage of them, and you find that they go there and they usually work extra than all the other nurses. And I've seen this so much, because I once saw a male nurse. He was just young, and I think he had done almost a whole year of nursing. And so one day he was looking for a certain form, like there's this form that usually fill to order things and such kind of things. So he came there, and most of most nurses were in the room, even student nurses. So he was like, oh, Nani, I was asking where do we place the form that we usually use to order, I don't know what. And she was like, you've been here that entire time, you don't even know where the forms are, I don't know what's wrong with you. And she was shouting at him, and everyone was there, even student nurses were there, and was like, why is she doing that? And at times they used to leave so much work for him, and he'd work his ass off, and he was working like hell. At times they even in the break room, they're just drinking tea and they're just like taking a rest. And I was looking at this guy and saying, what is this, what you usually do to younger nurses? Like, what is nursing really? And then the other incident is that most of the time we usually go to college, usually go to the university for 3 years, 4 years, so that you can be taught on how to become good nurses, on being knowledgeable so that you know what to do. But something that I found funny is that every place that I used to go to, these people we call the casual workers, these people who are usually there to clean, they are more knowledgeable and they have the skills. At times they're usually even better than we nurses ourselves. And at times I usually look at them and wonder, why is it that they've never even stepped into a nursing school, they've never even stepped into a medical school? But if they get into a situation that they're the ones who are supposed to help a patient, they do it even better than we do it as nurses or as doctors. Like, I've met so many incidences, like there's a day that a patient came in and she's like, I want to see the doctor. And I'm like, this is the doctor. She was like, no, the other doctor who had a maroon dress. And we just hear maroon, we usually know that because the casual worker, that is the color they used to put on. I was like, maroon? Like, how is she even a doctor? And that's when we came to the realization that at times these people who you just consider as casual workers, you see them as if they're the ones who are just washing. At times they're the ones who are even taking care of the patient, because at times you find that they have a listening ear. They listen to what the patient has to say. At times, instead of them calling you when they need assistance, they'll end up calling her so that they can tell her their problem, because they know she will listen. And they know that she's more knowledgeable because she's been there for almost 15 years and she has even the idea of what they're doing. And at times you find that even maybe, let's say in a labor ward, maybe it's night shift, they can help you during delivery. And at times, even if you ask them, not that you're going to let them prescribe, they even know the dosages of all this medication. And at times you wonder, like, why do even people go to medical school and nursing school? I think practice is even better than the knowledge that most guys usually go to, like, get in nursing school. Because at times people have gone to nursing school for all those 3 years, or they've gone to medical school, but when you see them in the field, there's nothing they're doing. So most of these things usually just show us that nursing is more than just all the A's that you got in nursing school and all the 90s that you scored and all the IVs that you could be able to insert and all those things per se. It is just totally more than that. And at times I usually just feel scared of going back to the field, because yes, now I'm done with nursing school and you're supposed to start getting into the field and start working, but at times I'm scared, not because of what I can do, but one thing is because of what people are doing there. And so that brings us to what is nursing turning into. Because when I was in my first year, I used to love reading books that are written from stories of those people who used to do nursing long ago, people like Florence. And you realize that she was a great person. Like, she came from a good family and she won so many awards and she was all over even the newspapers. Everyone was talking about her. But that didn't make her to, like, bring herself to a certain level in such a way that she could say, I'm the leader, I'm the founder of I don't know what, so I'm not working. You, my junior, should be working. Like, that is not what she did. In fact, she even used to work more than they used to do. Like, she was always in the front to show the others example. And that is why people liked her story, because it was like an example of showing us what we're supposed to be doing. But nowadays, the people we have as leaders, especially people like the nurse in charge, what I usually see them doing is just like, it is just out. Like, at times you'd see them, they'd come to work, they just come and they're dressed and something, and they just give and allocate work. They go to their rooms, they close the door and they sit there, or they go back home. And you'd wonder, is that like the person who you as a leader you are supposed to be? Because I thought that you should be coming to work, and because even there are students around, you should be showing them like what they're supposed to be doing. And at times you find even if there's a mistake that has happened, that is the only time they're being called to come back to work. And that just shows that most of the leaders, they're not leading by example. and they're just there to look down on the juniors. At the times you find that they're only the two of them, they're in charge and another junior nurse, but the junior nurse is going to do all the work by herself, but she's going to go home because she's the leader. And I'm just like, what is nursing turning into? Something else that we usually see is that each and every time in the news we usually hear of stories. Oh, I don't know, at Pumwani Hospital, nurses neglected the mothers, I don't know what. At, I don't know, Kenyatta Hospital, I don't know what happened. Naivasha Hospital, each and every time this news keeps on popping up in our television. But I think we usually take it as a joke most of the time, because we'll hear of this news, then it will trend, and then people will talk about it in such a way that is just so weird, because what people will be saying is that, oh, nurses, they don't know what they're doing, they're just neglecting our patients, they're killing our patients, and then we'll talk about it the whole day. It will be all over the news, everyone is talking about it. But something wrong is that nothing is being done about it, because I've seen it myself. Nothing is usually done about it. Because, let me give you an example, but I don't usually like giving examples on patient stories, but let me just give you this example. So there's a lady, she came in to, it was a maternity ward, so she came in like, just as any other normal lady, it has come to term and you've come to deliver your baby. And then she's there, she has bought all the clothes, she's so happy, and then the doctor asked for a scan. They asked for a scan, so she went and took that scan, but it was so late in the evening, so the doctor did not check the scan. But then she went into labor later on at night. But then something funny, something that I usually hate, and most of these nurses should be caught responsible for doing this, is that most of these nurses, whenever they see student nurses around, they usually just assume that it is a holiday. And they usually say this and people take it as a job, but it is serious. These people usually think that it is a holiday and they should just like come in, report, then go and pigam shene all over, or they should just go home, or they should just take their blankets, lie on the sofa and sleep. Then the student nurses can do all the other work. Yes, this happens, funnily or sadly it happens. So the woman had to, like, she got into labor at night, but so because the nurse kind of went home, she was not there to help and assist. So the student nurses tried to like tell her to push the baby, but what people did not do is that people did not look at that scan, because what was in that scan is that the cord, the baby's cord, umbilical cord, had formed a knot like around the neck, so it was kind of strangulating the baby, and the baby died. So the next day when we came in for the morning shift, all we had was like stories. People will just say, oh, the nurse went home, but no one will be telling it up there. It will be just be talked about like within the station, at all. She went home and the student nurses were there, and the baby, like, I don't know what happened, and so on and so forth. But something funny is that you find that most of the time when these things happen, all these things that we are seeing in the news, all these nurses and doctors who are doing this negligence and all these acts, the next day these people usually come back to work as normal, like as if nothing happened. Like, it is so sad that they still come back to work and they still like take care of other patients, other new patients, without someone considering that these people can even be psychologically affected, you know. Because at times when such kind of a thing happen, what should be done is that these people should even have like something as small as a meeting is not even done. Like, we should just sit down and discuss what happened, what was wrong, what was done wrong, and what should be done right next time, so that what happened to this mother cannot happen to another mother again. You get me? Or what happened to this baby cannot happen to another baby again. Like, it is just something as simple as trying to prevent like doing the same thing to another person, but just trying and like it won't even take you a time to just try and do such simple things. The other thing that people don't do when such things happen is being empathetic. Like for me, when I went to nursing school, the only thing that I kept on hearing them saying in class is, as a nurse, should be empathetic, empathy. But it is just said in class. When people go to to the clinic, I actually don't see people practicing like being empathetic, because this mother, she has lost her baby. So I think me and one of my friends, we went like to where she was, and we asked her like, how are you doing, just to know like how she's coping up, because the previous day she came in so happy, she was so ready to receive her baby. So like, how are you doing? And she was like, I'm not okay because no one has explained to me what happened. No one has explained to me what happened. And that was just so bad, because these people even don't want your money, because you can't be able to pay them enough so that they can bring back another life. But at times, the only thing that you owe these people is an explanation. Like something as simple as an explanation, to just tell them that this is what happened, and like if it was a mistake, you explain to them how it was a mistake, and just to try and explain to them, like, even if it was a mistake, if it wasn't a mistake, just try to be like honest with these people, so that at least they can be relieved. Because at times these people will get out of that hospital with that anger in them, and they'll never forget it. Even after 50 years or 20 years, they'll keep on hating nurses, because no one has ever explained to them what happened, and maybe they saw it. Maybe they felt. That's why they'll go to court and they'll sue you, only because you at times, even when you explain to them, maybe they can reconsider, but they'll sue you because you never said anything. So at times I know mistakes happen, because most of the time most people say it was a mistake, yes. At times mistakes happen, but not all of them are mistakes. But even if it is a mistake, at times the only thing that you owe these women, you owe these patients, is an explanation. And it is just as simple as that. So me usually just wonder, like, what is nursing turning into? And then the other thing is that nowadays money has just become the most important thing in our hospitals. I know you guys remember of this story of a guy who could not pay his hospital bills. I can't remember the story, but it was trending in news like some year back or something. This guy could not pay the hospital bills, and he had to like fall from, I don't know it was which floor, and he died only because of the hospital bills. And at times that just shows that there's a lot of such cases going on. Like, people will prefer even to die than to pay all those millions of money that you're placing there as hospital bills. And at times I see this costing people's lives, because at times you give me money first, then I treat you. If you don't have the money, I cannot treat you. You know, I usually say at times it's even better for you to treat that person, then make sure they won't leave the hospital until they pay. That is even better than just like telling them, like, if you don't have the money, I'm not treating you. At times you just see this person is in a really bad situation, like it's even at night, and the person may end up just dying. Like, there's one time a boy came in with poisoning, and because they couldn't be managed at that hospital, they had to be referred to another one. And the other one that they were supposed to go to was kind of expensive. So when they got there, they were told, you cannot be able to be to get the management you deserve because you don't have the money. And for me personally, anytime that I'm in a hospital, whenever I actually hear of referral, I actually just see death. It is so weird that anytime I hear of referral, I just see death, because I just become something like an obvious thing. Because like for this boy, when I just heard that he was being referred, I just said, you just say, you wouldn't say, but you're just pitying the mother, because you're just seeing like it is going to get hard there. And I remember the next day when I came in, the only thing that I heard was, the boy died because the hospital was too expensive. And I was like, what? So it has just become so obvious like that. You can just guess it, like you can just guess someone's death like that. Because our hospitals has just like, they've just made it so obvious that if you don't have money, then we are not giving you any care. Like, it's so sad, like what are we turning into? So if you're a medic and you just find it so hard for you to just empathize with people's life, me, I can even tell you to quit. Me, even that is where at times I usually tell people to quit. I can confidently tell you to quit, even you can go and sell even something, start your own business. But something that like is about people's lives, like you cannot just joke around with it. You know, most of us are usually feel like afraid to quit, because our community, like from home, they know that I went to medical school and I became a doctor. So they have to see me working as a doctor. They have to hear my name as Dr. Lois. They have to hear that. So that is why even if it gets hard for you and you know within you cannot become a doctor, you'll still become, only because you don't want to get the judgment from the community. You don't want the community to start saying, oh, she went to school to become a doctor and now she has started a business of selling mitumba. You don't want to hear that. But then, you know deep within you, this is not your thing. You're wasting time there. You're busy like having people's lives in your hands, and you're busy destroying it, and you're busy like affecting your own psychological well-being. Because I know most medics, like I know a very big percentage of medics who are going through psychological problems. That is why most of the time they are the ones who are deep into drugs and what, because they're really going through psychological problems, and then they just keep quiet about it. But something funny, the effect is getting to you the patient. And so maybe that can't change now. Maybe the way we do things can't change right now. But at times I usually say we should just start with one case. We should just start showing transparency with one single case, that maybe one day when one of these cases just continue trending in this country, just take one case and then show people what they can, like the circumstances they will get whenever they do such thing again. I think people won't be able to repeat that again. Something like the other incidents of, I don't know, Naivasha, whereby, I don't know, the medics were having a birthday party when there was a patient who was, I don't know, collapsing in front of the emergency room or something like that. Something like that. If they took those people like into accountability in such a way that they had to pay for it, even being fired from work, and even the license be taken, and then the other people will see that, no one could have joked with someone's life again. So I think transparency should just start with one single case, then the whole hospital, then the whole country, and maybe the healthcare will just change for the better. So guys, that was it for today. I know I can really talk a lot when it comes to healthcare, like I have a lot to say, but that was just it for today. And thank you so much for watching my video, and see you in my next video. And don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye.